So this is my first audio recording, so bear with me. I'm going to try and talk you through what's going on. So this is just me sketching out the gorilla. On my other screen I have a picture of the gorilla, so I can use it as a bit of a reference. To start with, it's going to look a bit like an alien or somebody wearing a gas mask, but I promise it's going to look a bit better. I kind of find humanoids a bit difficult, so this is a bit of a challenge for me. But I was quite proud of the result in the end. So here we go. I'm just thinking, trying to fit it in. So the green circle is me trying. It's for my scale, for where it's going to fit on the animal countdown that I did for Planet Zoo. So that circle is just my guideline for how big it's going to be and where it's going to fit. Here's me adding some detail on the sketch, trying to work on the eyes and the expressions. This is always the toughest part, is trying to get something that looks fun and unique, quite often done with the eyes. Trying to get that kind of raised brow expression going on. When I'm drawing, trying to get an expression right. Quite often I'm pulling the expression. I don't realise I'm doing it, but it's a bit of a test. And here we go, adding in a bit of a smile, starting to look a bit more normal. Cleaning up the sketch a little bit there. Adding some bit of fur detail. And I think I'll probably start lining in a second by the look of it. Oh no, there we go. A bit more eye wrinkles. Gorillas evidently have a lot of wrinkles. There we go, so I'm making the sketch layer transparent so I can start lining over the top of it. I use a harder brush so that the edges are nice and crisp. For some reason I always start with the eyes when I'm lining. I've noticed this, I just automatically start with the eyes. I'm starting to add in some wrinkle detail. I quite often redraw a lot of lines, you'll see. The eyebrows. I find a lot of the expression is to do with how close the eyebrows get to the eyes themselves. So an eyebrow that touches the eye, or very close to the eye, tends to give a more serious expression, whereas if you lift the eyebrow away, you get the ludicrous look. Okay, so I use the short fur lines to kind of denote a line where the skin starts to turn into fur. It kind of gives you a line without giving you a hard line. Makes the transition a bit easier. Here we go with the nose. Whee! Gorilla noses are a bit strange. Skin to fur line. It's a sort of technique I've started doing recently to make something look furry without adding too much sort of lumpy bumpy. So I draw a line and then just kind of push in a few extra lines from the side, and it kind of gives you a furry line without, really jagged edge. Okay, you can see that on the top of the head it's fluffier, so I sort of do the jagged ends, the jagged parts to make kind of clumps of fur. where the fur is longer. I'm tucking a few little lines like that just to give it extra fluff. I'm try and round it off a bit just to make it a bit more friendly, I think I'd call it. Sort of really jagged, kind of pointy lines tend to look not very neat when I do them. Just adding the chest detail. And I kind of zoom out to see where I might need to make changes. Because when you work up very close, you can't always see how it works in the bigger picture. So zooming out kind of gives me an idea of where to go next. Oh, here we go. So I'm starting to colour. I use the magic wand tool to select outside of the lines, invert the selection, and then contract that by a few pixels. Make a new layer, and then add a layer mask to that. And that gives you, it's a really quick, easy way to get a base colour. So adding a bit of colour with a softer brush, trying to get adding this bit of a ginger hair, giving a hint of his silverback shoulders, a little bit lighter around the face. Neating it up a little bit. I've got a blur brush that I keep on my daily rotation. I actually only use about 3 brushes in this. So my sketch brush, which is kind of soft, which I also use for the colour. My hard brush, which I use for lining, and my blur brush, which I use to kind of make all the colours blend nice and softly. Here we go, starting with the eyes. Gorillas have this strange sort of black around their eyes, more than white. Ooh, here we go. So it's going to look a bit funky for a while. This is me adding shading. So what I do is I'm adding a new layer. And I'm going through and I'm just marking out all the areas where there would be shadow or where it's that part of the gorilla is further away, and that kind of gives you a lot more depth, and that's how I work out where the shadows are going to go. So he looks a bit mean with his eyes all coloured in. There we go. So what I've done is I've set the layer to soft light, and that makes a really nice kind of blending colour. It kind of colours the black to what's behind it, so you can see where it goes over the gingery shades, it's more of a dark brown, whereas if you just make it a transparent black, you get a greyer, less saturated colour. So it's me going over it with my blendy brush again, kind of working out shadows. So this is my what I call my base shade layer. This is kind of a soft shading, and you'll see me coming a bit later with the harder shading. So you can see there where I've to kind of make an idea of how curved a section is. You kind of make the blend quicker or longer, where it fades out. Make it longer if it's a slow curve, or make it blend out over a shorter distance. Well, here we go. This is the highlighting section, or snowy part. I just go over a new layer. Just start with white. I'm doing the same thing, but in opposite. So I'm highlighting the parts that are closest or where light would hit. So I tend to pick one direction for the light. In this case, the light is kind of coming from over his right shoulder, but kind of above and to the right, if that makes sense. I've set the layer to overlay, which gives you a very saturated colour. I will tone it down in a minute, but while I'm working, I tend to put it on maximum so I can see it a bit easier, and then in a minute I'll tone it down. Actually had quite a lot of fun with the gorilla. I always feel a bit nervous doing kind of humanoid, apes and stuff like that, because I don't do humans too often. But I was actually quite pleased about how this came out. some serious cheekbones, this guy. Here you go, so this is a trick for doing the eyes. I give a little bit of overlay, blend it out, and later on I'll come back with the next overlay layer for highlights. Am I going to do that now? Probably. We're just blending it out again. Oh, I've changed it to soft. There we go, okay, so I'm coming in the next, this is my detail highlighting layer, where I'll just do, I kind of follow lines and I won't blend it, I'll just this is kind of picking out the real detail, lots of wrinkles. But you can see in the eyes I've I just put dots where the light would hit it, so usually eyes are a bit strange, they kind of reflect opposite in the iris, so where the light hits it you can see where the light circles are, the little shiny bits. It'll be the opposite side of the iris that I highlight. It kind of gives it a more realistic-ish effect. So whether or not I use overlay or soft light really depends on the colour of the animal, or the theme I want to go for. It looks like I've changed to soft light from overlay. I probably decided that overlay was a bit too saturated for this guy. So going through adding a lot of detail. Here we go, onto the fluff. Highlighting fluff is a lot of trial and error. So I quite often follow the lines. I actually tried something new. This is the first time I tried this. You can see where the separate lines are. I managed to get a technique where like it looked nice and soft and fluffy. And what I'm doing with my tablet brush is just kind of pushing hard when I start the line and really flicking it at the end to get the lines to fade off. So I use a Wacom pen and touch. I've also got a felt nib on there at the minute, which I was recommended by a YouTuber, and I've tried that out for a little while, and it does simulate pencil on paper a lot better than the plastic nibs. Here we go, I was really enjoying this bit. Just getting nice and fluffy. You can see where it's closer to the light I'm adding heavier, thicker lines, and where it's further away and I want a little bit of detail, my lines are getting a bit thinner. I was really enjoying this kind of flicking the pen around a lot. This in total took me an hour. One of these usually takes me about 40 minutes, but with the amount of fur detail it took a lot longer. But I enjoyed myself a lot with this one, and I learned quite a lot doing this one. See again, adding a lot heavier fur texture on the side that's got more light. And this is kind of backlighting almost, where the light is quite obscured. And I am adding quite a lot of lighting there, maybe I should have added less. There we go, he's looking okay. So I'm zooming out and I'm trying to figure out what mode I want. There's a lot of tinkering. Okay, we're coming in now with the shadow details, kind of doing it the opposite side of the lines to all the highlight details, and that kind of, especially when you're doing small details like wrinkles, it really pops them out. Once you get to this stage, it really starts to bring it together. It doesn't look as flat anymore. You can see on the face I'm using smooth lines, with the occasional kind of dotted to taper it off. I kind of use dots sometimes. and that gives you kind of a softer way to fade things out when it's skin versus fur. For example, here you can see it's quite fluffy. I'm doing the same thing again with the short fur, kind of thickening it out, giving it a lot of texture. You can see there again on the face there's lots of longer lines, whereas on the fur it's sort of short and fluffy. It's hard to explain some of these things. It's like what you know in your head and what you can explain is kind of hard to translate. But hopefully this is kind of helping you with kind of explaining what I'm up to. I love his ginger noggin. Silverbacks are so beautiful. Shadow behind the ear just to make it pop out a little bit more. Shadow really gives you kind of really helps define the parts of the animal better. Really gives you that 3D effect. You can kind of see there on the chest where it's slightly less furry. I'm adding less fur detail. And there we go, I think I'm probably just about wrapping up, so thanks for watching, guys. I hope this helps out, and I'll hopefully see you again in the next one.